Hello everyone, this is part 6 of What If Naruto Left But Hinata Is Confused, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. The rain flowed down Hinata's porcelain face, as she stared up into her golden-haired shinobi's blue eyes, hiding the tears of relief that spilled down her cheeks. Her heartbeat progressively slowed down as he street USD her there on the ground. Her foot had been completely swallowed up in the mud and her delicate pink dress was spotted with dark splotches in her eyes. They were open wide, like a deer that has been cornered by the hunter. Naruto shook his head, bent down and held out his hand. Wordlessly, Hinata grabbed hold of his wrist, a warm sensation melting throughout her body as his fingers wrapped around her, securing their place around her tiny arm. Then Naruto gently helped Hinata to her feet. Once she was upright, Naruto allowed Hinata to steady herself by placing her hands on his broad shoulders, as she pulled her leg out of her muddy prison. She pulled with all her might, the force causing her to lose her balance, sending her forward into Naruto's chest. He quickly wrapped his arms around her to keep her from falling. Hinata blushed furiously at the warmth of his embrace and quickly backed away, stumbling over her own feet. Naruto reached out and grabbed Hinata by the waist to steady her. He looked into her face and she quickly turned to the side, hiding her embarrassment. Thank you, Naruto, she whispered softly, pushing his hands away. Her eyes shut in shame. She was thankful he had helped her, but what are you doing out here by yourself? Naruto asked, his voice deep with concern. I was just. Hinata shivered and hugged herself, her fingers sliding over her cold, wet skin. You know it's not safe out here. What happened to Kiba? I thought he walked you home. Hinata flinched at Naruto's harsh tone, as he stood looming over her, overwhelming her with his anger. He shouldn't have left you all alone. It's not safe. It's not safe. He yelled at her, his hands grabbing her tightly by the shoulders and squeezing. Hinata let out a painful whimper. Naruto quickly released his victim as his eyes opened wide in horror. Hinata took a step back, the moon casting a dark shadow across Naruto's face. Her mind racing in fear. Could this be her Naruto? No, this couldn't be him. He was angry, he was feral, not like a wild animal. No, he was like a rabid dog, mad with envy and loss. All he was missing was the foam at his mouth. What's wrong with you, Naruto? Hinata reached her hand out to him and he just stared at it, while the raindrops noisily fell against the emptiness of her skin. Hinata stared at her open palm as the rain splattered against it. I know Sakura has been taken, Naruto, but we will get her back. Hinata resolutely declared as thousands of invisible needles pricked her heart. He was upset like this because Sakura was gone, she had been taken and now the only person he had was poor, pathetic Hinata. He didn't even want to take her hand. She followed him willingly, Naruto stated, his voice full of menace as he stared blankly at the ground. Hinata took another step back, the mud squishing at her feet. Her arms blindly outstretched behind her. Her heart picking up the pace as her palm came in contact with the soaked, rough surface of a trunk. Willingly. Hinata stammered. Why would she go willingly? Naruto's eyes shot up at her question and Hinata squirmed under the scrutiny of his sinister gaze. Yes, willingly. He repeated, malice lining his voice. We were on a date, I finally got her to go out with me, and then he showed up. How do you think it made me feel? How do you think it feels to see the person you care about running off with someone else? His voice growing louder with every word as he yanked on his mud-stained shirt over and over again. Hinata pressed her whole being up against the bark of the massive tree behind her. Her mind cowering in his presence. She dug her fingernails into the side of the thick wood as she desperately searched for something to say. Her mind raced with images of Naruto and Sakura, laughing, fighting, and just hanging out. Then thoughts of her ran through her mind, hanging out with Naruto, talking and laughing, but these weren't as carefree as the Sakura memories, they weren't quite as happy. These memories were lined with a dark tint and the quiet sound of a heartbreaking, as the two spent the day shopping and planning the date Hinata wanted so badly, that he would have with another girl. Hinata instinctively grabbed for the familiar object at her chest, but it wasn't there. Instantly she backed herself as far against the trunk as she possibly could, rubbing her skin raw on her back. Maybe she will come back for you. Hinata's voice cracked as she spoke. After all, Sasuke has been gone for a long time. It's only natural for a person to miss their missing teammate. Wouldn't you have gone after him too? Hinata suggested in fear and immediately held her breath for his response. MMH, oh dear sweet Hinata. Naruto chuckled at the thought of her words. You're always the first one to try and make me feel better, to put a better spin on things, to let me know you believe in me. He said as he intensely began to study her peat form, pushed up against the tree, her soaked dress clinging to her body and her long hair stuck to her arms, framing her large, white BS. It must have been so hard for you to watch me chase and pursue the same pink-haired girl for all these years, a girl who didn't understand me, or even respect me, while you were right there, quietly watching, waiting and yearning. He whispered in her ear, his arms trapping her against the tree. How could I not see it? How could I have passed over the only girl in the village who believed in me, who wanted me? He wondered as he slowly caressed her arm. Hinata turned her head away, her body shivering, but not from the rain this time. Well Hinata, you can have me now. Naruto growled in her ear as he aggressively kissed her on the end and slid his hand up her milky thigh. Hinata's hand swiftly came down on top of Naruto's rough skin, stopping his advance, as the other hovered in the air, aimed at his chest, a light of chakra emanating from her knuckles. Naruto held her arm with his free hand, cutting off her blood supply at the wrist. What is wrong with you, Naruto? Hinata squealed in terror. What are you doing? She cried, not bothering to hide the tears. I'm giving you what you want. Naruto stated. Because no one should be denied what they want. He finished, a red flash resonating through his eyes. Hinata tossed her head and frantically flailed her arms. Naruto grabbed her dainty wrists in his massive hands and forcefully pinned them against the tree with one hand, as he allowed the other to continue his passage slowly up her thigh. Hinata opened her mouth and let out a scream. This is not him. She thought as he crushed his lips to her, cutting her voice off in an instant. Naruto wouldn't do this, but he is Naruto. After a moment, Naruto removed his lips from hers and breathed into her ear. I've always wanted to f a submissive bee. He said as his hand tugged at her underwear, causing it to s. Hinata turned her head and lifted her knee up, causing Naruto to jump back. She quickly fell into her fighting stance, her eyes red, full of fury and fear. You're not Naruto. Who are you? She demanded, a contempt in her voice she didn't recognize. Hinata watched the rain pour down on Naruto, his hair limp and his face lined with hate. You'll pay for that, you little bee. He yelled as he came toward her. Hinata called on her chakra, sending two swirling balls to her fists and attacked. Naruto nonchalantly stepped to the side and pulled her by the hair, punching her in the face. Hinata shook in fear and looked up at the sky. Naruto, she called. Naruto, help me. She silently cried as the man pulled her back to the tree, forcing her dress up as he fumbled with his zipper. Hinata's heart SD, as she waited for what was to come. Then she heard it, a faint and far-away voice calling her name. Hinata, be strong. Whatever it is, you can fight it. You can fight anything. The voice was familiar and comforting, but where was it coming from? Hinata, whatever it is, it's not real. He called. And remember, no matter what happens, I'll be here to catch you. Neji, Kiba and Shino swiftly made their way through the woods. Neji leading the way through the dark and rainy woods with his Byakugan and Kiba riding on a Kamaru's back. Have you found them? Shino inquired after Neji. No, not yet. It had been a while since I had last seen him, so I am starting from scratch now. I have to scan the whole forest instead of a controlled area. As Neji and Shino ran past the forest trees ahead of Kiba, sending waves of water flying in the dark, something reflected the moonlight into his eyes and caught his attention. Hey, guys, hold on a second. He ordered as he dismounted from a Kamaru's back and walked over to the muddy tree roots sticking out of the ground. Carefully, Kiba leaned over and picked up the shiny object and stared at it in his hand. Instantly his eyes went wide in worry. It's Hinata's, he said, meticulously tracing the perfect heart he had given her with his thumb. She always wore, ever since the day he gave it to her. His heart dropped when he thought about what was inside, but he made himself feel better by telling himself that he was the protector of her heart. Neji and Shino just watched their friend, waiting for more of an explanation. Kiba just street USD the heart in his hand. If it was here, then Hinata must be. Akamaru, Kiba hollered. Instantly the big dog was by his comrade's side and Kiba mounted him, ordering him to trudge on ahead. He couldn't smell her, but he knew she was near. Kiba, Shino said in shock, but Kiba didn't answer. Reluctantly, Neji and Shino pursued the crazy teammate, as the rain began to come down harder, hitting them in the face with the force of a baseball. Kiba forced his way through the forest, pushing the relentless branches of the trees out of way and ignoring the water stinging his face. As he desperately rounded the trunk of a tree, a dark figure came into view. Through the rain, Kiba could make out the small form of a person, lying lifeless on the ground. Instantly his stomach dropped and his heart was still in his chest. No, as he dismounted Akamaru and ran over the peat woman laying in the mud, her foot caught in the ground. Kiba kneeled down beside her, his hands shaking as he looked for any sign of life. Then, he heard a soft whimper escape her lips. At that moment, his heart began to beat again. Suddenly, she shook all over and cried out, "Naruto! Naruto, help me!" Kiba swept her up into his arms, tears pulling in his brown eyes. What was going on? He gently began to rock her, his hand cradling her face. What was he supposed to do? How was he supposed to wake her up? Suddenly an idea came to him and he concentrated all of his chakra at her forehead and tried to disperse any mind-controlling genjutsus. He sat there for minutes, but it didn't work. Tears quickly spilled down Kiba's brown skin as Hinata's face grimaced in agony. "Hinata, be strong," he cried. Slowly, Hinata's mind began to fight toward the sound of the voice. Everything went black and she didn't know where she was, but she could hear the voice even clearer now. Then, she gently fluttered her eyes and opened them, only to find a pair familiar dark feral eyes staring right back at her. His strong, warm arms protectively around her. Scared, but relieved, Hinata buried her head into his chest and cried. Kiba held her, ignoring the arrival of his two slower teammates and allowed the relief to wash over his body, but not to wash away the guilt, as the rain fell down on them. Naruto raced through the darkness, as branch after branch slapped him in the face and the water rushed through his hair. He had no idea where he was going, but he had to keep moving. He couldn't just let Sasuke go. He couldn't let Sakura go. Suddenly he felt a jolt and he leaned against the nearest tree in order to steady himself. He always hated it when his shadow clones dissipated and the chakra came back to him. It knocked him off center almost every time, but that was the price he paid. While he regained his composure, he processed the new information the clones had gathered. Instantly, the color drained from his face as he became nauseous with fear. Hinata was missing too. Kiba and Shino had left her alone. He didn't know what to do. He needed to follow Sakura, but he couldn't just leave Hinata out in the dark woods all by herself. His two halves butted heads, leaving Naruto paralyzed in confusion. Then, he felt the familiar ominous presence, the one that had been lingering around Sakura's earlier that night. He swiftly turned around, just in time to block the fist that was wielding a kunai and heading for his skull. The leaves rustled from the movement, as Naruto found himself face to face with a pair of memorable red eyes. Naruto blinked, his mind whirling, trying to make sense out of the chaos that surrounded him. He was looking Sasuke in the face. He came up to Naruto's chest and he wore his signature blue shirt with the Uchiha insignia. He still possessed the same boyish features and his dark hair blended into the shadows. Irritated, Sasuke pushed himself back using Naruto's arm, which fell limply to his side as he watched Sasuke calmly make his way through the mud to a nearby tree stump and sit down. He brought one knee to his chest, leaving the other dangling over the stump, and crossed his arm over his bent knee. He lifted his face up so that the moonlight caught his sinister eyes in the night. They were focused on Naruto, as he struggled to lift his arms and move his legs. Sasuke snickered as he watched his weaker comrade try to resist his power. "It's useless, you're in my world now," Sasuke stated, his voice low and full of venom. Ignoring his friend's words, Naruto stubbornly continued trying to lift his lifeless arms and glued legs. To think that I once trained with you. Sasuke sneered. I made the right decision in leaving the village. If I had stayed, I may have become as weak and useless as the rest of the ninja in this village. I mean, just look at you, Naruto. Knowingly struggling against something you cannot overcome. It almost makes me feel sorry for you. Sasuke finished as he played with the kunai in his hand. What do you want? Naruto demanded in frustration. After 3 years of training with one of the legendary senins, all he could do was talk big, while his limbs were restrained by some imaginary force. Sasuke shook his head at Naruto's words. Now Naruto, this is not how the game works. Sasuke said as he made his way toward Naruto, continuing to fiddle with the kunai in his hands. Demands are made only by people in power, and you, my friend, are in a very precarious position, while I, on the other hand, have the power, so I believe we will be playing by my rules. Sasuke hissed in Naruto's ear, as he pushed his kunai to Naruto's tea. At that moment, lightning flashed through the sky, lighting up the damp forest floor. Clearly, Naruto could make out 2 figures encased in a thick bubbly layer of clear goo. The 2 bubbles were resting in opposite trees and both people had a similar blank expression on their face. Hinata, Sakura. Without thinking, Naruto tried to rush over to them. He was met with the resistance of 1,000 weights and his body went limp as he panted heavily from the exertion. I'm surprised at Naruto, Sasuke said in disappointment. Tell me, what would you have done once you had ran your en into my kunai? Sasuke pressed the weapon harder against Naruto's skin, reminding him of the danger he was in. Naruto narrowed his eyes at his old comrade, his face deep in concentration. It's no use, Sasuke stated. You won't be able to call on it here, I told you, this is my world. The beast's chakra cannot penetrate my mind, at least, not after you're already in it. Sasuke glanced up at his captives. Now then, Naruto, are you ready to move on? Sasuke asked in a tired voice. Naruto looked up into Sakura's and Hinata's unseeing faces and furrowed his brow in anger. No, Sasuke, I am not done. I still have some questions I want to ask you. Sasuke's eyes rose in surprise. Oh, and what would you like to know? He asked, his voice challenging. Naruto thought for a moment, trying to assess the situation. He couldn't tell if what was going on was real or not. Why haven't you changed in the 3 years you've been gone from Konoha? Naruto inquired. Humph, that's it. That's what you want to know. Sasuke logged. Have I really not changed in the 3 years that I've been gone, or do I want you to think that I haven't, or maybe I'm not Sasuke at all? He smirked at the suggestion. Naruto stared at the frozen figures of Sakura and Hinata in confusion. Well, if this isn't real, is this a dream? Naruto wondered. No, this is not a dream, it's as real as anything else in your life. Sasuke told him, the rain pouring down on the 2 figures. Well, if this isn't a dream, are you really Sasuke? Naruto pushed. He wanted him to keep talking. The more he knew, the more likely it was he would be able to escape. I am to you, Sasuke replied cryptically. If you're the real Sasuke, then prove it. Naruto challenged. Sasuke rolled his eyes and shook his head in annoyance. Then he gripped Naruto's head and forced him to look at Sakura's body, trapped inside the clear bubble. Sakura is the girl you've desperately had a crush on since the academy, but she never acknowledged you in that way. In fact, she preferred me and annoyed me with her constant flirting and nosy personality. She shunned you and never believed in your abilities as a ninja, and to this day you want her to be your girlfriend. You even asked her out on a date, on which she left you at the sight of me. Sasuke accurately pounded out the facts. Then he turned Naruto's attention to Hinata. Hinata has always been a shy, but capable kunoichi. She has spent most of her life being degraded by her family and was severely injured in her fight with her cousin Neji during the Chunin exams. Her father favors her littler sister Hanabi over her, and she has admired you from afar and always believed in your abilities as a ninja. In fact, it was from her encouragement that you faced Neji yourself during the Chunin exams. To this day, she trains herself harder than any of her teammates, just so that she can be a strong ninja, like you, Naruto. She believes she is weak and will never have the strength to be your equal, as ninja, or as a lover. Sasuke finished with a smile. So is that evidence enough for you? Sasuke jammed his knee into Naruto's back. Naruto winced in pain as he stared up at Hinata. So if you're Sasuke, then why are you here? What do you want with Sakura and Hinata? Naruto asked, anger resonating through his voice. Don't you see? Sasuke whispered. I told you from the start this is a game. It's a test. Sasuke explained. A test. Naruto repeated, confused. Yes, Naruto. You will have till morning to save Sakura and Hinata. Sasuke sneered as his tongue rolled over the names. That will be easy, they write here. Naruto claimed, his overconfidence shining through his paralyzed exterior. Naruto had barely finished speaking when Sasuke snapped his fingers, causing the two bubbly prisons to disappear. Where did they go? Naruto demanded, his eyes wide in horror. I have placed them somewhere safe. Sasuke answered. They are sitting at opposite ends of the forest. Sakura has been sent to the waterfalls. Remember the waterfalls, Naruto, the place where we fought as I left Konoha and you vowed to bring me back. Sasuke chuckled sardonically at the memory. And Hinata, she has been placed near Hokage Mountain. Remember, you only have till dawn to rescue them, which means that you only have time to go after one. Sasuke paused, allowing the information to sink into Naruto's thick head. So which will you choose? Will you go after your teammate, and longtime crush, or will you rescue your friend, who has always been neglected, who has always believed in you and more than admires you? Sasuke released Naruto and gave him a sardonic smile. Oh, before I forget, you cannot use any justice here, so don't even think about using your shadow clones. You'll have rescue them the old-fashioned way, without any chakra. With that, Sasuke disappeared and Naruto was left in the dark, rainy forest alone. He collapsed as the hold on his body was released and he clutched the mud in his hands, as the tears rolled down his cheeks. It would be dawn within a couple of hours, he needed to hurry if he was going to rescue anyone, but which one should he go after? He secretly cursed Kiba and Shino for not being more protective of Hinata. If they had been more vigilant, he would only have to worry about Sakura, but now he had to choose between his longtime crush and newfound friend. Desperately, Naruto stared up into the sky, drops of water hitting his eyes. Frantically he searched the cloudy night, he needed to find them, he needed to see them. They would give him his answer, but they weren't there. He couldn't find the two guiding lights he had become so accustomed to. It was as though they had gone out, leaving Naruto like a lost child in search of a home. Home, Naruto thought. That's it. He quickly pushed himself off of the ground and made his way through the woods. He knew what he had to do. He hoped she would forgive him. Hinata shook in Kiba's arms, her tears staining his jacket. It's okay. Kiba coaxed as he gently caressed her hair. It's okay, you're okay. We're here now, nothing's going to happen to you. He tried to force a smile across his hard face, as he pushed back the tears trying to make their way out. Neji Street USD, his cousin Azakamaru snuggled against her back. What do you think happened to her? Shino inquired. I don't know. Neji responded. Perhaps it would be best if we scoured the area. He suggested. I concur. Shino agreed, as he held up an arm and silently ordered a small army of insects out of his jacket to scour the perimeter. What should we do about Hinata? Neji wondered as the two viewed the disheartening scene laid out before them. We should give her time to recover from what happened to her. Shino wisely advised. She'll be more useful when she isn't as emotional. As Neji and Shino observed their two comrades, a small winged bug made its way back to Shino's hand. That didn't take long. Neji noted. Shino didn't respond. He intently focused his attention on the tiny creature that had returned to him, then he turned to Neji. I think I'll go for a walk. Stay here and keep an eye on Kiba and Hinata. Naruto has been spotted. I'll contact you if I need help. Shino said nonchalantly. Neji just nodded his head in agreement and watched as Shino sauntered out of sight. Kiba clutched the small locket he had discovered in his hand. Slowly he lifted Hinata up so that her bloodshot eyes met his concerned face. He wanted to cheer her up, but she wouldn't speak to him, she only cried, so he thought this might help. Carefully he positioned the locket in his hand and presented it to her. I found it before I discovered you. Kiba explained. Hinata eyed the small lace, her eyes staring at the heart, the place where he resided. She quickly pushed Kiba's hand away and hugged her knees, tears rolling down her face harder than before. Kiba shot her a quizzical look and sank the locket in his hand. She had been so happy the day he had given it to her. She finally had a place to put her strength so she could always have it with her. Why wouldn't she want it now? Hinata, Don't you want the end lace I gave you, the one where you keep your strength? Kiba tenderly asked. Hinata didn't even look at him, she just shook her head and pressed her knees closer to her chest. A fierce surge of anger erupted in Kiba and he clutched the end lace tight. If that son of AB had done something to Hinata, then he was going to tear him apart. Suddenly he felt a soft hand on his arm and he looked down into Hinata's soft face. Kiba, she whimpered. Can you hold on to the inside of the end lace? I don't think I can keep it right now, she asked. Kiba looked into her sad eyes. He wanted to make her happy, he wanted to see her smile again. Okay, he said, then hesitated. If I do, then do you want hold onto the end lace? Hinata bit her lip as she contemplated his question. It didn't feel right without her strength, but the locket could no longer hold onto it. Kiba had given it to her as a friend, there was no reason she shouldn't wear it. Hinata stared into his brown eyes. Then Hinata took a deep breath. Yes, I want the end lace. Hinata answered. Maybe it will protect my strength again one day, but for now it will just have to remind me of my friends, she said with a smile. A small sinking feeling pulling on her heart. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.